What is up, y'all? How is everybody doing tonight? Welcome in here to Slaughterhouse Sports. We're going to talk Nebraska now on the show. If you guys want to watch me break down the playoff, picture, recap Saturday, that video is also going to be up. So now this is all Huskers, all Husker talk. Minnesota, Nebraska, a noon game at Memorial. That place was jumping early on. I'll tell you, Nebraska came right down with Anthony Grant, and I believe he had 80 yards of rushing in the first half. They went right down the field, and Chubba Purdy finished it off with a rushing touchdown, but it was Anthony Grant. It was the offensive line, and Nebraska just played physical football. Really in that first quarter was amazing. They're up 10-0. They get a punt. They have the ball in plus territory, and then I believe they go false start and a sack, and then you guys know the rest of the story. You guys watched the game. Nebraska had 6 straight 3-and-outs in the second half of play, and Chubba Purdy just isn't the answer at the quarterback position. I can go and read you the statistics, but, I mean, here we go. Chubba Purdy, guys. Big-time recruit from Arizona. His brother played at Iowa State. Mark Whipple loves Chubba Purdy, and he has a relationship with Chubba Purdy. And Logan Smothers is labeled as a running quarterback, even though actually Logan Smothers' throwing ability has really improved every year that he's been in Lincoln. But there's some guys in the quarterback depth chart. It really was Chubba Purdy was getting propped up even before this dang season even started. I mean, Logan Smothers was a guy who came in against Iowa, but he was a whole afterthought this year with Mark Whipple. It was really Mark Whipple talking about Casey Thompson, and then also a guy in Florida State getting elevated to the second role, and that is Chubba Purdy. And that's because Chubba Purdy and Mark Whipple believe Mark Whipple has a house in Arizona, so these guys are boys. And that's what matters is who does the coach like? And Chubba Purdy was a big-time, transfer recruit. Maybe there was NIL money involved with getting Chubba to campus because he was at Florida State, highly touted guy that was even competing with Jordan Travis there. But Chubba Purdy, I mean, you watch him on the field, and it's tough to say this about college football players. Maybe it'll get easier because they are luckily, getting paid. So, but I don't think I'm being unfair to Chubba Purdy when I say that. I'm actually just being quite factual in my opinion of college football. These are grown men. He didn't play very well. He played poorly in that game. All right, and Chubba Purdy throws the football. He doesn't throw it with a lot of velocity. He doesn't have a big arm. Okay, Chubba Purdy lobs the ball. He's incapable of driving it. It's like he's throwing on a hurt shoulder. Logan Smothers is a much better thrower of the ball than Chubba Purdy. So this whole analogy that Logan Smothers is just this kid from Alabama that's just a running quarterback, yeah, he can run. He's also one of the best throwers on the team. He's even taller than Casey Thompson. Casey Thompson does throw a very good deep ball, so Casey Thompson is probably a better thrower than Logan Smothers, but Logan Smothers moves the team. And if Logan was in the whole game, I believe they would have scored even more points, probably ended up winning that game. The defense was phenomenal. No one talks about that. Everyone's talking about how Mickey Joseph, the shines off of Mickey Joseph, the offense lost the game again. I like that kind of game. I like a game where you're dominating and it's 13-0. I'd much rather have that than Purdue, where your defense can't stop anybody and it's a roller coaster. I like that organized kind of offensive game. The problem is with Mickey Joseph, though, is that it was awkward, and this has been pointed out well by people who cover Nebraska, is that Mark Whipple, he doesn't want to be, Mickey Joseph doesn't want to micromanage Mark Whipple because Mark Whipple was actually the offensive coordinator and Mickey was the wide receivers coach. So Mickey was actually in the Scott Frost hierarchy was under Mark Whipple, but now Mickey's the head coach. But Mickey's shown the ability to be, prompt and to really take matters into his own hands. And the fact is that he should have, in hindsight, rolled with Logan Smothers. And if Mark Whipple wasn't going to do that, it's tough because do you have an offensive coordinator on the staff at Nebraska that could have taken over for the plays? I actually want to go ahead and look at the staff because I know that there were so many changes there on the staff. But if Mark Whipple's going to be so difficult, which he probably is going to be because he's in debt to the Chubba Purdy family, I know that I'm just, maybe I sound like a conspiracy guy in terms of the quarterback situation at Nebraska. But we all saw the recruitment of Chubba Purdy, and we all know the relationship. That isn't a secret. It isn't a secret. And what is frustrating is Heinrich Harburg, 6'5", one of the fastest quarterbacks on the team and has the biggest arm on the team, and yet he's not getting developed at all. Richie Torres, you don't hear about but Heinrich Harburg, to me, if I were a coach at Nebraska, I would give Heinrich Harburg every opportunity to go out there and try to be the quarterback at the University of Nebraska. I would even offer him as a transfer. He has NFL size. He has NFL traits, professional traits, or elite college traits, should we say. But the defense was awesome. Garrett Nelson, Ty Robinson with a huge sack on Tanner Morgan. And when Adrian Kalianafis came into the game, that's a hard name to say. I probably am butchering it. He's a new kid anyway. But he's from Illinois, Anatok, Illinois. Him and his twin brother, I think, committed to Minnesota. When he came in that game, holy smokes, he's a very good player. And, they have Mo Ibrahim. Dylan Wright, I believe, is hurt. So their wide receivers, Altman Bell, also not there. Their offense, they finally got Kirk Soraka back, and Kirk Soraka can call a game that Fleck loves, and they run the ball, and they play mistake-free football, and Aiden gives you, Afin, I believe his name is, he gives you a element of running, which Tanner Morgan, as he was banged up, did not have. But Tanner Morgan has equity in the program. So I understand PJ Fleck, because Tanner Morgan, those guys have been together for, 20 years at this stage? Tanner Morgan's having grandchildren. Tanner Morgan has been at Minnesota since it seems like the early 2000s, okay? So, and Tanner Morgan, what did he do? He beat Penn State at home. He led a 10-2 season. He's taken Minnesota to 9 wins, has won over Wisconsin multiple times. He has equity in that program, okay? Him and Tyler Johnson, him and Rashad Bateman. He's been a very good winning quarterback at Minnesota, but now he's a senior, and now he's got a very talented redshirt freshman that has a lot of size, has a running element, and Afin, that's going to be a seamless transition whether it happens this year or when Tanner graduates. So this worked out for Minnesota, though, because Afin gave you the ability to run also, which changed the whole complexion of the football game. I usually really like almost everything PJ Fleck does. You could say that PJ Fleck's annoying with his catchphrases, but I love the way that he manages a game. I like the whole elite message, trying to be elite in everything you do, socially, athletically, spiritually. All of his sayings, are all good self-motivational tactics, and he has a very connective team. He really does. He's built a good culture there. I know that it gets annoying for people on the outside to hear that. So, but PJ Fleck, it's 4th and inches, and you have Mo Ibrahim, and they can't stop him at all because now it's 32 rushes for 132 yards. It's a half an inch. Even if it was 2 yards, you should go for it and put your, and end the game on your terms on offense. All Nebraska fans didn't want you to even go for it. They all wanted you to kick the ball because if you sneak Afin, who's a big guy, or you give it to Mo Ibrahim, he's going to pick it up and it's going to be game over. Instead, you really put the game in jeopardy with that decision. I didn't like that decision at all. I would have went for it 100 times out of 100. It ended up working because Trey Palmer hard hit. Give Minnesota credit. They were able to finish out the game, but even Logan was threatening on that final drive. So Mickey, sorry about the cold, guys. You're kind of an issue a lot. So Mickey, we could say here on the show that Mickey messed up with Logan Smothers. We could say that he should have pulled the trigger earlier, or he should just fire Mark Whipple, because this isn't any joking around anymore. I mean, put it this way, if Mickey Joseph is still a wide receivers coach at LSU, as harsh as that sounds, his resume doesn't stack up, but now he's been given this opportunity, and he's been crushing the opportunity. He's been recruiting at a high level, and sometimes, right, you need an opportunity, just like Brady needed Bledsoe to get hurt. Sometimes you need your opportunity. You step in and you knock that out of the park like you can. Some people get the opportunity. Some people, it doesn't happen, whatever. You always try to put yourself in a position, though, to get the opportunity. That's all you can do. And Mickey Joseph is recruiting at a high level, but he's probably going up against Leipold. He's going up against Aranda. I was corrected last week on a lot of things about Chris Kleiman, his relationship with Gene Taylor. He says he's not leaving, He's only making like $3 million there at Kansas State. Nebraska could triple the salary. That's going to change things in a hurry. So Mickey Joseph, guys, he has to win. And the defense is balling out for Mickey. And I love what I see. I love everything about the pep talks. The way that they played that game with Bill Busch and Mickey Joseph, that was so different than Georgia Southern, so different than Northwestern Oklahoma. That was their best game of defense that I've seen out of Nebraska football, definitely since the last season. Last season against Ohio State, against Michigan. The defense was great last year. JoJo Doman and all the guys Cam Taylor Britt, so all the guys that left the program that went to the National Football League. All right. Ben Stille. But, you look at the black shirts in Nebraska, and I know they're not the black shirts, right now, but they played well enough to win that game, and I was actually proud of the effort. I think that Mickey's really doing a solid job. They put that Minnesota offense and Mo Ibrahim, one of the best backs, they put it on ice. They played a lot better and a lot cleaner than Illinois. They really improved. That first quarter was a thing of freaking beauty, okay? The entire half was tremendous. It was some of the best defense you're ever going to see. It's actually better than the performances last year because they shut out Minnesota. Then Afin comes in the game, does a phenomenal job. And when you go 3 and out 6 times, you're not doing your job. And Mark Whipple needs to understand, hey, this line has momentum. Run the ball and give the big boys up front room to continue to run the football. He gets too cute all the time. Is Mark Whipple going to be here with the new coaching staff? So Mickey Joseph, he doesn't have allegiances to Whipple. Honestly, if you're not going to call the game the way that I see fit, this is no joking matter for Mickey Joseph. This is the opportunity of his life. I'm really rooting for Mickey to get this job. I love everything that I hear. The team played very inspired football. I love the brand that they played. If you're a Nebraska fan, you got to love the brand of football that they really demonstrated yesterday. Not on the offensive side of the ball, but really defensively the entire game, the compete level, the edge rushing of Ty Robinson, of Garrett Nelson, the way that they're getting to Tanner Morgan, the way that they're stuffing the run, that's beautiful football. That is the way that football is meant to be played, okay? What is it, Isaiah Gifford? Isaac Gifford, he's playing great. He's flying around. So, Mickey Joseph, he did this with Bill Busch because he knows Bill Busch, but who would call plays on offense? It's tough. It's a tough decision. You either got to move on with Whip or because Chubba Purdy is just, he's a hazard as a quarterback. He's throwing interceptions. He can run it a little bit, but really the future of the program was sold on Chubba Purdy. And even Scott Frost was getting pulled in different directions now because you look at Whipple and his influence. And Chubba Purdy's been elevated to this high stature. And here's the thing, guys. It's been said, too. He might be great at practice, but practice you don't have guys coming at you. It's a different style. That's why quarterbacks that are not as accurate but are maybe feature something when they're able to kind of extend a play like Logan Smothers. Because Logan Smothers, when he got to Nebraska, he wasn't probably as I saw Logan Smothers. He wasn't as accurate as the other guys. All right, so Chubba Purdy might have more experience throwing from the pocket. So maybe early on, Logan Smothers, right? And he's on the third team. He's dealing with completely new receivers because it's all new wide receivers. He might not execute the script that Mark Whipple has because Mark Whipple wants to throw the ball. The point is Nebraska has Anthony Grant. You could throw screens to Trey Palmer. Who's the best players on the team? It's Anthony Grant's one of them. He's top 3 on the team. You got to give him more carries. And Logan Smothers is your best weapon at the quarterback position. He's the most experienced there. Even I like Heinrich Haarberg a lot, but at this stage, Logan Smothers is the way to go. So you go up to Michigan. Michigan just beat Rutgers, had a nice second half. All right, but again, you're a 28.5-point dog up there in Michigan. So you know what you do? You go to Michigan and you play physical football with Logan Smothers and you get him in a rhythm and you let him play the whole game and you don't quit at all. No matter what the score is, you play it out. Then you have a game at home against Wisconsin. Then you're to the point in late November. Unfortunately, with Alberts, it's outside of Mickey's control, but you never know what's going to happen. You never know what Trev is going to do, if Trev is going to be very close to pulling the trigger on somebody. Wisconsin lost to Michigan State. They have a new coach, too. Graham Mertz isn't that good of a quarterback. He's not that mobile. Even that Afin kid is a lot bigger and more athletic than Graham Mertz is. Your defense is clearly capable of playing very well against Wisconsin. And I know that their running back is really great, but so is Mo Ibrahim. You need to go into that Wisconsin game, and you need to win that game against Wisconsin. And I know Iowa's playing better ball, but Mickey almost needs both of those games. This Minnesota game, I was so surprised how well they played this game. I was surprised at that first half. I was blown away by how well the defense played in that game and the job that Bill Bush has done and the job that this team has done. They deserve to win that game. And the offense was putridly bad. And that's not sugarcoating it. I know that it might sound harsh to the offense. That's the way it is. It's black and white. That's what football can be sometimes. That's why we can even enjoy it, because it's a results-oriented business. We can wrap our brains around it, you know? It wasn't the refs. It was in Nebraska's control. It was in Nebraska's control. When you play football, it's, you know, your team has control to win, and especially then when the defense serves you the game. And you can't go out there and win. But I give credit to the guys because the way they played was a lot better than Purdue. Purdue, Aiden O'Connell sliced Nebraska apart. Illinois was just downright terrible in the second half, just got dominated. First half against Minnesota, Nebraska was the better football team. They played with an edge that I didn't see ever, really. Rarely under Frost. That's sad that they lost that game. So the whole Mickey mania is ending. No, I thought Mickey's doing well. And actually, it really makes me even more bold on rooting for Mickey because I can kind of see it, you know? And I don't think Whipple will be there with Mickey, but allow Mickey to hire his own offensive coordinator. You're going to have a squad. Man, it's tough. I know you can argue for Lance Leipold. He had a big game. It was a tough loss. If Mickey would have won that game, that's what you're dealing with. I mean, that's how emotional these things are. It really depends on the search, how interested are these other guys. It's everything that is behind the scenes, too, with the search. But again, I thought that the Huskers played great, played very well. Even the offense played pretty good in the first half, running the ball and playing solid ball. And Husker fans from the 90s like that style, and I do too. It's ball control, it's physical defense. I love, too, how like Ty Robinson can go out there and knock Tanner Morgan. Bam, plaster him. I like Tanner Morgan, too. How can you not like Tanner Morgan's story? You know, Western Michigan commit, goes to Minnesota. Great kid. Great family guy, great embodiment of Minnesota. But In college, you could really hit the quarter. There's big hits in college. That's what's more fun. In the National Football League, if you pile drive a quarterback into the ground, it's a penalty. In college, it's a solid tackle. So when you're playing football, defensive ends have a lot more leeway. But it's an uphill climb. Michigan will be tough. Even going to Iowa now with like Petrus finding his footing. It's so weird. These teams are weird in the Big Ten West because Illinois will lose a game to like Michigan State. Purdue will fall off a damn cliff. But sometimes you play them and they hit. Sometimes you play them and they're really good. It's like whack-a-mole. Like, when are they going to come up? When is their winning number going to come up? When are they going to rise up on the right side of the bed? That's the Big Ten West you're dealing with. So you have Wisconsin and Iowa. You can't lose both of those games. And this week is great for Mickey. Come on. I mean, this could show you. He says he's not afraid of anybody, and I love the whole Mickey Joseph story. I love it. And he grew up in one of the toughest parts of New Orleans. He isn't afraid of anything. And going to Michigan to the big house, if they run the ball and like play a magical game on defense, it'll go so far. If it's a one-score game in the fourth quarter, that'll show you everything you need to know. Because this team was a joke when they played Oklahoma and Georgia Southern. It was a joke to start the year. Well, Bill Bush is a Mickey guy. Like, that move is really paid. That move was brilliant. So, the whole Chubba thing and Whipple, it's awkward. Is Whipple a big personality? Hell yeah. He seems like it. So I just got to come on here and say, like, all this panicking about, like, how Mickey Mania is over. I guess people really get distraught. Probably a lot of football fans, they could get frustrated. I was frustrated, too, with the 6 and outs, the 6-3 and outs. That could be frustrating to watch. You can think your team's far away. But they're not. They're actually, when you play good defense and you're in a game, it's more right there. I like that style. Like, I'd rather that than the whole Purdue game where it's a roller coaster and a shootout. Those defensive games are really good to watch. And that first quarter was very positive. They were playing with a different level of physicality. They were playing a good game of football. So let me know what you think about Mickey Joseph and his chances. It's probably, again, it was kind of a pretty long shot to begin with. He's done very well. This would have helped him. This week is going to be crucial. I like Mickey a lot. Lance Leipold is fine, but again, like, it's confusing because all these guys in the Big 12, they seem to be pretty happy at their jobs now. Big 10 money pays more. There's so much question mark. What is Mickey going to do next year? What does Leipold think about the new Kansas football facility? What is the relationship like with Alberts and Kleiman and Leipold? So all of this we don't know about. All of this we know is that Mickey Joseph's I think he's doing a really good job. I think this defense is just so much better. You lose your starting quarterback, and you're playing a team in Minnesota that's established, that should have been one of the better teams in the Big Ten. Now, I know that they've struggled a bit this year. You made Minnesota look awful for the majority of the game on the defensive side of the ball. That's something to be really proud of. Those defensive kids deserve the W, the whole team. But Mickey's going to have to make that tough choice. Is he going to roll with kind of an inexperienced Chubba Purdy, who's the same level of experience as actually Logan Smothers? Or is he going to run the ball with Anthony Grant, play ball control, and improve his percentages to win the game? We'll see what happens.